Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome to the hands-on training session on Spark AR. Today we have with us Ms. Roopal Mittal. Roopal is the campus ambassador at Spark AR, and she will be teaching you how to build your AR effects on Spark AR. I hope all of you have downloaded Spark AR Studio and are ready with your laptops. You can keep building your AR effects along with the workshop and submit your AR effects at the end of the workshop on the Google form that has been shared with you over the email. We will also share the submission link in the comment section. Everyone who submits an AR effect will receive a backpack and a certificate from Facebook Spark AR. So don't miss this opportunity and submit your AR effects today. Now, without any further delay, let's start the workshop. Over to you, Rupal.
Thank you, Oscar. Hello, everyone. I'm Roopal Mittal, Spark campus leader from Reskilll and Spark AI by Meta. Today, I'm going to guide you guys on basically how to get started with Spark AI Studio and make your first AR effects. I hope it's your first AR effects for many of you, but yeah, if you are well aware of a little bit components about Spark AR, then that's good as well. You can just build it as I build the effect and submit it at the end of the session. So just a little housekeeping before I start the session. If you have any doubts, just post them in the comment section. I'll be looking in the comment section in the middle and at the end as well. If you want to ask at the end, then we can take Q&A at the end. But yeah, wherever there is doubt when I'm just explaining about various components, just drop it in the chat box in the comment section. So I'll start by asking a few questions. So just make it a little interactive, I would say. And whatever comes up to your mind, just again drop it in the comment section. That is how you operate virtually, right? So, what is augmented reality or AR as we say? Like, what do you mean by AR? What comes to your mind when we say AR? Any definition or any in layman terms, if you would like to explain what AR is, what comes to your mind when you listen augmented reality? Anyone up? Okay. So, in simple words, I would say augmented reality is the real time use of information in the form of text, graphics, audios, or any other virtual enhancements integrated with the real world objects. So, like what we call filters on Instagram and Facebooks, right? So, where we add digital components to the real world objects or a live view. So, there are live view, and we add certain virtual components to that. So that is basically augmented reality, right? Now I'm going to talk about Sparkia Studio and like what it is used for, what is the software, like what it is. So Sparkia Studio is basically an augmented reality platform for Mac and Windows that help in making the process of development of interactive augmented reality apps and effects more accessible. So you can basically build these Instagram and Facebook filters on Sparkia Studio and publish them on Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. Like people all over the world can use them when you can publish them publicly using Spark AI Studio. So the tool is very user friendly, and you don't need any prior coding knowledge to get started with it. Although, of course, when you'll dive in deeper into more concepts and capabilities, you would need that as well. I'll just show you when I'll be starting with the hands-on session, like where you can use coding and where not. Like generally we'll talk about all the components that we'll see on the screen when Spark AI Studio project comes up. So it includes access to an online library of 3D objects, animations, and interaction templates. So there are a lot of features and capabilities the platform provides. So that's just a brief about Spark AI Studio, and that's all the talking. Without any further ado, we'll get started with the hands-on, so that you can get a glimpse of whatever I just said. We'll just see how it works. Just to reiterate what Askar said, have uh, if you haven't installed Spark AI Studio, you can just do it now. I'll just share my screen and show you how you can do it, and we'll share the download link in the comment section as well. Okay, so I can see a question, something that is present physically but can be existing in digital, more or less, right. So what we do is there are already like real world objects, and uh, say I want to maybe add a hat on my head. So that is not a real object, a virtual object that I add on a real world entity, right? So that is augmented reality. You were close. Okay, real elements augmented through computer. Yeah, 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 that is it. You are getting on the right track, I would say. So, I'll just show you. We'll share the download link in the chat box too. So you can just go to this very site where we have the Spark AI Studio, where from where you can download the Spark AI Studio. So from right here, you can from the downloads you can just get Spark Air Studio for Mac and Windows. The requirements, basic requirements are Windows 10 and above, so just keep that in mind. Otherwise, you're good to go to download any version. Right now, I'm using the latest version, 127.1, and yeah, this is what you need. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you can just put it on download now as I speak, so that whatever I do, whatever effect I make, you can just make it side by side, and by the end of the session you all can submit your AI effects. So we'll start with Spark AI Studio now. So this is the first window that comes up when we open Spark AI Studio. So right here you can see there are options. There are these predefined templates, like the background template, the face decoration template. So if you're a beginner, you can start using these templates and replace these components by your own. So I'll start with a blank project for now, so that I can demonstrate what all comes up when you open a blank project, what all components are there on the screen. I'll just demonstrate that, and we'll make a effect from the template as well. So we'll be making two effects in today's workshop, and you can make either of the two and submit it. So I'll start with a blank project. Just a moment. Yeah. So this is the first screen that comes up when you open a blank project. So I'll just, to show you, to increase the visibility, I'm just increasing the size of. So here up, we'll see right in the middle of my screen is the viewport. So whatever comes up on the scene right here in the left panel is viewed on the viewport. If I click on device, you can see these blue lines that gets highlighted, right? So this gets, it shows like whatever component I click here, it shows which component is directing to where. If I click on, say, directional light, so this is the component that is highlighted, this is the directional light. And correspondingly on the right panel you can see the properties for the same. So what we have seen here are three components. If whatever objects that I add, we add or we add it on the scene in the left panel, it is viewed in the viewport in the middle of my screen right here. And the properties associated with these objects or components on the scene is viewed on the right panel right here. So you can see these properties for different components that I click on, right? The phone like structure right here is the simulator. Basically what it does is it gives you a real time, feel of look and feel of how your effect would look like. So in the scene we can just view it differently. You can have the front view, you can have the back view, what all components we have. When we'll add components, you'll be able to understand it better, what like why we need these views, because it helps gives us a better understanding of the objects that we are adding to the scene, and see it in perspective. So right now I'll just keep it as it is. You can change, you can also actually use your own camera and see how it looks like on the simulator, because there might be things that you're making, like open your mouth and then something comes up, some object comes up, so that will be visible when you'll actually use it on you, right? So you can use these various real time simulations from here. I'll be keeping it this one, or from here you can just use your own camera. Right now my camera is in use, so I'll be just sticking to a simulator. Okay. So we'll talk about the next thing up. We have is assets. So what basically are assets? Assets are basically the resources that we add in here, like the texture files or the materials. We'll talk about textures and materials, what these are. So whatever we add in this object, say if I'm adding an object and I want to maybe have a background of, say, Taj Mahal, or at any place I wish, like, so whatever that texture I'm adding now, so that comes in the assets section. So you can have those assets from your local system. You can download it externally and just import it here from right from here, this option, from the computer. Or you can search the asset library. First we'll discuss about the asset library, and then we'll talk about I'll just import a texture and show you how it works, what all properties comes up when you open that. So right here we have the asset library. So just show you. So this is basically asset library. What AR library is like, it provides you a predefined set of resources. You know, the 3D objects. You can just see right here on my screen. There are 3D objects. You can use these 3D objects as well in your effects, or you can of course download it and use it and import it from your local system. But yeah, these are certain predefined music and sounds that are provided by Sparky library. It's really a gem because you get a lot of options here, if you can see, right? So if I want to maybe have a city template, city texture, sorry, so I can just import it from for free from now. Okay, so you can see when I imported it. So here in the textures folder, it comes up. The city texture comes up. The preview is there, and it hasn't been used by any object right now. But what we can see is we can use these as well. So say if I add a rectangle, maybe. So I'll just add this 2D component. So a rectangle is basically a 2D component, and the properties for rectangle comes up here. So this is basically to show you like how we can use this very texture right here in our object, so that you'll be able to see how to use textures, and we'll talk about materials afterwards. So if I just add a material here, so what material does is it's add capabilities, it adds add features to your texture. So if I to your object, so if I use this rectangle as my object and I added a material to it, so it is named material 0, right? So I'll click on material 0, I'll go here. So if I click on texture, or maybe I can just change it from here. You can change the colors from here, like you can see. We can change the sizes. We'll talk about the properties first. Let's talk about the properties first, so that it will be easy to understand. I'll import an asset from my computers, and we'll discuss about the properties. So I am just taking a random image. I'm taking a light background, this very image I'm taking. So you just see on the right panel, we'll discuss what all properties comes on the right panel, and what all we can do from here. So if I click on this, the properties here are the file that I have uploaded, right? It's a JPG file. Now, the type. What is the type? So it is a single texture. A single texture basically means that it is a single image. If I want to say add a series of images and use it maybe as frames at different frames. So if I have a maybe GIF, and what are GIFs? GIFs are basically a series of PNG images, right? So you can use that as well in your effect. So if I click on textures and say maybe have these three files, opened up, so you can see just right here it will be included here as a texture sequence, the type changed to texture sequence right here. So you can add multiple images and number of images via here as well. So I just changed from there. I'll again import this very texture. Okay. So this is about the type. These are the properties of the image file that I have imported. The color encoding scheme you can just see right here. So basically this right now it's the linear scheme, but if you change it to sRGB, in the preview section you won't be able to see the difference. But if I just use it, and if we see it in perspective right here, you'll be able to see the difference, because what every image is made up of is basically red, green, blue, and the fourth component is alpha. So these are the things what a image is formed of. This is about the color encoding scheme. You can change that and see it in perspective how it comes up. The next feature that we have here is the compression feature. So what compression does is, like, why do we even need compression? So Facebook, the ideal size that Facebook allows for an effect to get published and used by maximum audience, to increase the audience and to be used by maximum audience, it should be 4 MB. So right here I've taken an image of 32 KB size, so I don't actually need to compress this image because it's really less of a size. But say if I take a single image of 4 MB and I'll add more components to my effect, so it will the size of the effect will increase now. So what you have to do is you have to compress this. You can automatically compress this, you can manually do that. Click on manual, it will get compressed, or you can just select none. Right now we don't need any compression for this very image, so I'll just select none. Now there are a few more options that you'll see right now. This, since it's a single texture file and we haven't used it in any of the object right here, so it is not enabled the option of repeat. But what it does is, like, this very rectangle, or say this very image is covering 1/4 of the size of my screen, but I want it to be covering the whole screen, and I don't want to upload any of the new image. I want it repeated. So if I just click on the tiling mode and go to repeat, then this very thing will get repeated and displayed 4 times. So that is all, I think, more or less about the properties right here in the right panel. So now it's all about the talking. Now we'll actually add some components to our screen and just delete these. There is one more thing, like the microphone feature here. When I'll add a audio file as well. So just, I think we can just discuss it here. And then what microphone does is, like, by default it is enabled. So if I want to say record a video while using my effect, so the user's audio is audible. But if I want to say disable it, and even if the user wants to record it, even if the user says something, it won't be recorded in the video. So you can do that by disabling the mic here. But I'll keep it as it is for now. Now we'll just see how to add components to our scene. Okay, so I'll just remove these for now. We'll start it blank. So we are back to square one where we started. Now I think we are clear with the scene panel, the assets section, and the properties right here. This is the simulator, and in the center there is this viewport. So we have covered most of the components that we see on the screen. If there are any doubts related to these very components, just post it here. I can take them up. Okay. Isn't it available for Linux? No. Actually, this is not available for Linux. You have to have a Mac or Windows to work with Sparky Studio. But you can, of course, if you want to, have an alternative, you can have VirtualBox and maybe have Windows or other Windows or Mac operating system and work with that. Okay, one doubt, should we install iTunes for a Spark to work, or is it optional? Installing iTunes is completely optional. It's recommended, but it's not necessary. So you can just opt it out if you wish. Like, how to add in texture from the library in background. Yeah, we'll see that. I'm talking about actually to making two effects. So we'll see how to add a background to uh, to our effect. We'll see that. Okay, if you are having a virtual box, then that's fine. Should we submit the exact effect? Actually, that's totally on your creativity. You can just build it as I build it. But yeah, you can just change a few components to give it a touch of your creativity. You can do that. Okay, so we'll swiftly move on to making the effect, like start adding components to this very effect. So what I'll do is I'll add a face tracker. Okay, we'll talk about objects as well. So from the asset library, I talked about what all objects are here. So we'll talk about a few objects, and then we'll just start adding these objects. So right here on my screen, you can just see there is this face tracker, plane tracker, target tracker, and a hand tracker. So we'll start with face tracker. So as the name suggests, what a face tracker does is, like, if you add a face tracker, it it tracks the user's face. So whatever component you add as a child of face tracker, it will move as the user's face moves. So I'll add a face tracker and show you how this works. So there I just added a face tracker. So if I click on face tracker, you can just see these arrows comes up along with the user's face. If I can just show you in the front view or the back view, so you can just see these arrows that comes up. So this is tracking the face. Now I'll add an object as a child of the face tracker. So if I add a face mesh, so by default this is coming up as a checkbox. So right here you can see this is a face mesh that is added. If I click on this, you can see these arrows that comes up. So if I what if I add this face mesh not as a child of the face tracker or just as an individual component? You'll be able to see the difference why this face tracker is really important. Say if I click here, and if I add an object directly, if I add a face mesh right here, so you can just see, I hope it's visible. uh, this face mesh, this very face mesh is the child of the face tracker, but the other face mesh, I'll just place it maybe above here so that you can just see the difference. So this is not the child of the face tracker, the other face mesh, right? So this will be a static component. It is not moving as the user's face is moving. So that is where face tracker features component comes in. So this is just to show you the difference. So I'll just remove this one, and right here we have this face mesh. So what we'll do is, I'll just go on to the face mesh. I'll add a material. So if I add a material, so it will be coming up by default this material 0. We'll rename it. This is uh, the material related to the face mesh. To face mesh matte is the name of this very material. So what I can see is, if I want to just change the color of this mask, so I'll just go to color. I can change the color of this mask right here. Or what you can do is, if not just the color, if you want to add more stuff to the user's face, not this mask, if you want to have another one, so what I'll do is I'll just add a new texture. So right here I have certain files. So this is a face mask of just the freckles that are added. What you can do is you can just have a face asset file from the, you can just download it from Spark Air Studio, like the resources that I just showed from the downloads. I'll just show it once again. So from here, if you click on face assets, we'll just search the face assets. So what I've done is, from here you can just download this face asset file. What it has is, it has a masculine face, it has a feminine face, it has few more objects. So you can just visit any maybe Photoshop or something, and you can add those components in the layer and remove the previous layer. I've already had this, you can just download it from here. I'll just show you how it works. So right now what I've done is I've added little freckles on the user's cheeks, and this will rename it face mesh. This maybe. Okay. So this is the first component that I have added. Again, now I'll add a sub component of the face mesh itself. So let's make, since Christmas is coming up, so let's make something related to Christmas. If I'll add a plane, if I'll add a plane right here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pause this. I'm gonna place it up here. I'll just go to the properties. So right here you can see, you can just scale it down. You can do it, these are the xyz coordinates of the positioning, and for the scale you can see. But if you want to do it from here, these arrows, you can just move it from here. Or what you can do is you can just click on here. I'll change this to, yeah. So this will be tracking user's face again. If I have just paused this video, so it'll just come as a starting component, but yeah, just to make the placements right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on this place, go to materials, create a new material. So we'll rename this material as plain matte, because we're using this material with the plain texture. So you can just see here again the same concept that comes up. You can just change the colors from here. Maybe you want to just write a text on this plane or whatever you want to do. Okay, but I'll add a new texture. I'll maybe have reindeer horns here. Okay, so I'll rename this. Okay. So right here, I have these. When I what I did was I added a plane as a child of the face mesh, because I wanted to. If I say scale it down to 1, so it will come up like this. But I wanted it maybe this, so I just increase the scale. So that is all on the positioning, how you want to do it. If I want to maybe position it anywhere I wish, like I want to position it right here, so it looks fine, I guess. And I have associated a material with it, that is placemat. The colors change because I have changed whatever a color I put in. This will have an impact on the texture that I have used, but if I'll keep it just white, then the original ones comes up. So I'll keep it as it is. So yeah, that is how you do it. You add a plane, you associate it with the material, and then when we go on to the material, you can just associate a texture to it, or you can just change the color. So that is what I have done right here, right? So what all, I think we can add some things more, right? So I'll show you a very interesting component that I personally like a lot. So I'll just add another object, a particle system. So this is basically a technique to add or produce moving 2D objects. When I'll add the particle system, you'll see what comes up. No, we'll not add it. We'll just add it as an individual component. Okay, when I'll play, you'll be able to see. Yeah. So the what are these? These are basically this emitter is basically a particle system, a combination of many 2D objects. So in the properties, you can see how you can manage these objects. Just maybe shift it a little bit to increase the visibility. So you can just see in the properties, if I have added a material, I have not added a material as a child of the face tracker, because you don't actually want these objects to run along the face, right? You won't be able to place it well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place it maybe just down here. You can do, again, you can do it via just clicking on this emitter right here, going on the viewport and changing the position, or you can do it via the xyz coordinates here. So we'll discuss about the properties of the emitter right here. So you can see this emitter, this very emitter is just starting from a point, and it is just throwing 2D objects from a single point, right? So we can have this as a line. You can just see that it is now coming up from a line. If I change it to a plane, then you can see the difference that if you see it as a 3D object, then it is some objects are coming from behind, or some objects are coming from up. So that changes, the source changes. Basically the type here is the source from where these 2D object comes up, from a single point, from a line, or from a plane, or from a ring. Then it will be a little curved. You can see some objects are starting from here. So that is the difference. I'll just keep it a line for now. Now what it does is, if I change it to zero point 0.2, then the line size increases, the source of the line increases. So I'll just keep it zero point 0.3, so that it is covering my entire, if you can see, this is covering the entire bottom part, right? The source is covering that. The space, you can just take it whole. Now what is this birth rate? Rate is basically, if I click on, maybe if I make it 40, then the number of objects that are coming up increases, right? So you can do that as well. Or here is the speed, like you can control the speed of these very objects. If I take it zero point 0.3, the speed increases. I'll just keep it zero point 0.2 only. So these are again these objects, the birth rate, and this very parameter here is the number of 2D objects that are coming up. You can also change, there is this very interesting feature. You can associate a material here again with this thing itself. I'll just keep it to 20 only. And you can change the shape as well. So if I click on shape, if I this is just 2D planes, these are planes. If I change it to cube, then you can see the difference, the particles that are coming up. You can change it to cylinder, or whatever you wish. Like you can change it to stars. So we can keep it a star. Again, the properties associated with the star you can see here. Yeah, on the shape. So you can change the inner radius, you can change the outer radius. I'll show you how it comes up. So if I change, then this comes up like this. I'll keep it one only, because it will just change the structure, and you can see what comes up when you change the inner and outer radius like that. So you can associate a material as well. Right now I'm gonna just keep it plain. You can change the object. I'll associate a material with it. I'll create a new material. This material is particle related to the emitter, so I'm just gonna name it particle mat. So when I right now, you can just see these are, I can change the color of these very components that are coming up. Or again, I'll add a new texture. So what I'll do is I'll add a new texture. What do I have? So if I see, I have these, since we were making it for Christmas. So you can just see that these are camps coming up. To make it more visible, we can just increase the size of the objects of the emitter. Right here, if I maybe go to emitter and I've changed the size again. Okay. So on the particle scale, if I, so from here you can just change again the size right from here. So if you can see, this is what comes up if I just increase the size. So these are just, flying hats that are coming up. So I'll just keep it as it is. We won't, you of course, again, you can play it as you wish, like whatever you want to add in this very emitter, you can add according to it's totally on the developer's choice, right? So again, I'll add another component. So what do you want me to add? I'll add a 3D text maybe. So if I add a 3D text right here, again, I can place it as I wish, like. So I'm gonna just place it here. So these are the properties that are associated with the 3D text. So if I click on, I have just written this text, I'll just place it right here. Okay. So again, you can change the fonts, you can change the sizes, and you can just explore these options. These are again the same properties that we have discussed, just a little bit here and there. So you can explore these here again. Every object that we have, we can associate a material with it. So the material associated with this is material 0. So we'll rename it uh, to text mat. This is the material associated with the text. So if I click here, I have this material. I can just change the color. So I'll just keep it red. We won't, again, you can do, what you can do is maybe add a texture again. So whatever you add in as a texture, it will take that very component as the front material, the back material, and this thing here, the front material, the slide material, and the back material. Since it's a 3D text, it will be more visible in the viewport if you just see. But yeah, it will look like a 2D thing in here. Okay, so we have added a few components. Now we'll see if there are any doubts. I can just see, take them up. Hmm. Okay, so what to do if I have to make a face mirror thing? Any idea on this? So for the face mirror, actually, that is the concept that is related to layers. So when I'll use a template, you will see that I am using the user as the front layer, and background as the back layer. So there are two layers that comes up. We'll use a template and we'll just see how this works up. And that is the concept basically related to the face mirror thing as well. Because on the front layer, you'll just have to manage both of the components, or you can add a mid layer as well. So that is a thing. You can study the concept of layering from Spark resources and explore that as well. Since it's a little intermediate concept, I won't be actually making that effect, but yeah, I'll show you when we'll make an effect from the template. Okay, so there are no questions. We'll swiftly move on to using a template right here. So we have this very effect. So since some of you asked me about the template and adding the background, so we'll do is we'll use a background template. So there is another project file that will come up. So right here, this has. So what I was talking about here is, so this is a predefined template. What it is doing is it is taking one rectangle right here as the user. So you can just see this is the user layer right here. This is the user layer. When I click on background, so it is taking as the background layer right here. So you'll have to play around with layers if you want to add different component at different layers. So this is the default by default background that is there. We'll just delete this very file, and I'll import an asset from my computer. So whatever we can take, we can take maybe this background. So this is the texture file that I have added. Now I'll go on to the material of the background. So here what it is doing is the user rectangle is using the user layer, and the associated material is user mat. So what it is using is, in the front layer it is using the camera texture. So whatever comes up in front of the camera is taking it as the front layer, and the background is associated with the background material right here. So right now, since there's no file, we'll choose the file we uploaded. We'll use this very texture, so this will come up as the background. So this is how you can add background. You can add it on a blank project. Again, what you'll have to do is take a canvas, add two rectangles, the user and background, associate it with two materials. For the user material, you'll have to use the texture for camera texture. What it is doing is, like I just told, this will show whatever comes up in front of the camera. And or you can again, you can just go to the background and use the texture that you want as the background. So that those are the things that you would need. Since this is a template, this is using certain scripts itself. So you can add scripts in maybe in the intermediate to advanced stage, where you want certain conditions to be applied on your effect. So you can add that via scripts or the patch editor. So we'll stick to this. So this is how to use a template. We'll just close this very file, and we'll stick to our this file and see how to publish it, or maybe add an audio. So if there's Christmas, so we should add a audio. So I'll just show you. This is the last component that we'll adding to our effect before we publish it. So I'll just add a playback controller. So I'm adding audio. So I'll just have audio playback controller right here. I'll go to the audio playback controller. So from here you'll have to select a file. You can search the asset library. One of you asked that how to add stuff from the asset library. So right here, if I want to choose an audio, so I can just, if you are able to listen it. So these are the audios that we have in the asset library. Either you can use this one. I'll just stop it so that I'm audible. So you can use this, or you can just import it from the computer. I already have yeah a file for jingle bells, since it's a Christmas theme effect that I have made. So I'll use this. Now you'll the question should be, why isn't it audible, right? if you say I click on play, then why it is not audible again? Anyone would like to comment on that? Why isn't it audible again if I just click on play and loop? Any comments on that? Okay. Yeah. So just adding the playback controller won't work. What we have done is we have just added an asset here. We haven't added anything to the scene. So if you want to include anything in your effect, you have to. It's a must to be added on the scene. So for an audio, what you need is a speaker, right? So if I add an object right here that is a speaker, I'll click on this, then that is when your audio will be audible. Yeah, it will be added to your effect. Right now before that I've just added a playback controller that is an asset, but I haven't added anything on the scene. But with the speaker I've added on the scene. So the audio right here is, you can just click the playback controller. I'll move on to the playback controller now. When I'll just click on play, you can see, yeah, so the audio is audible. Again, I'll just mute it maybe, so that, so what loop does is it will say if your audio is say 2 3 seconds. So if I click on loop, it will just play in background again and again in loop. So we'll remove the loop, we'll click on play, and we'll just pause it so that it just stops. And now the last section for today, we'll move on to publishing our effect. So the very important part here. So if I click on publish in the bottom right corner of my screen, you can see the publish button, or you can get you can also test and device from the left panel, left bottom. You can see this test and device icon here. So you can either test it on your device first, or you can just directly publish it. So I'm gonna just publish it. So we'll see, if you're publishing a new effect, you'll click on here. If you're updating an existing effect, you'll click on here. So we'll publish a new effect. You'll have to record a demo video which will be used when you'll be publishing your effect on Sparky Hub. Right now, since my camera is already in use, I won't be able to record a demo video, so we'll skip it for now. But yeah, you can of course just record a demo video, save it, and use it there. Again, now these are the platform requirements. So what is experience? We'll add experience and see. So when it comes to experience, we'll add an experience. There are basically these experience that comes up. So you want the user to use your effect, just click it, and for sharing purposes, then you can add this very experience. Or what you can do is, or maybe you want it for the video calling experience as well, that when you video call on Facebook and Instagram, then the user might be able to browse and use your effect, so you can add the video calling experience as well. But I'm gonna skip this one. I'm just gonna keep it for the sharing experience for now. These are the capabilities, the device motion. So this is again, there might be certain objects or certain components that you add maybe not be compatible with some of the versions. So yeah, you can keep that. From compression, this is like to compress your overall effect file, but we haven't used actually much component. We You can just change the uh, right now it's on the automatic mode, so it's okay, we don't have to change it for now. So these are the components that comes up. We have added an experience, we are done here. So you can just see the file sizes meets the requirements. Since I know I haven't added any heavy textures, so it meets the size requirements and it is meeting the capabilities requirements. So we'll click, now we have two things. We can either export this very file, or we can directly upload it. So if I click on upload, then I'll be redirected to Spark Air Hub, and or I can just export this very file. So I'm gonna upload it. So if I click on upload right here, it will be uploaded and it will redirect me to the dashboard of Spark Air Hub. This may take just a few seconds. Yeah. So this is the window that comes up since I'm already signed in via my Facebook. So this comes up. Otherwise, you'll be redirected to Spark Air Hub where you'll have to log in via your Facebook or Insta. So I'm gonna name this effect Christmas demo or something. Christmas demo. Uh, so this is the project file that is imported. You can what you can do is either you can export it and upload it here the other way I told you about, or if I click on upload, it directly gets uploaded. So we'll have to choose for sharing, since we chose that we'll be using only for sharing experiences. So we can choose whether we want to actually publish it on Instagram or Facebook or both. So yeah, if I want to if I want to choose the platforms, and if I want my effect to be visible on Instagram and Facebook both, I'll just choose it here. Again, that's your choice. What you can do is you can just decide the audience where you can public your effect, or what you can do is you can make it link only. So if you make it link only, it will be shared only with the people you share the effect link with. So I am gonna just keep it. I'll tell you why I'm gonna keep it link only, because for keeping it public we would need a demo video, but right now I haven't recorded it. So I'll keep it link only, but of course you can do that. These are the categories you can make your effect lie in. Like mine lie in maybe colors, uh, sci-fi. So this will help in browsing your effect. So whenever a user is finding something maybe related to Christmas, so these categories will help. And similarly goes for the keywords. This will increase your chances to be, to for your effect to be visible to maximum, or increase the insights there. So right now I'm just gonna keep it link only, so I don't need a demo video or that for that purpose. There was one more thing. If I keep it public, so you can include an icon. So what a icon is basically the thumbnail image that comes here. So whenever you see an effect, the thumbnail image comes up, right? So this is basically the icon that you can upload. I'll click on a link only and show you how we publish an effect. So I'll just click on publish. It may take a few seconds. Yeah, after publishing, it will redirect me to the dashboard where we have. So you can just see this, that we have published your effect. We can get the link from here. So you can just copy it and share it with people you wish, like. And so there are two things basically you'd need to submit your effect. So this is the effect link right here. You'll go to share, you'll get the effect link from here. You'll go to these three dots. You can copy the effect ID from here. So these are the two things that you need to make a valid submission for Spark AR, like after publishing your effect. So from here you can get the effect ID. You can copy the effect ID from here, and you can also test it on your device and get the link from here. But what you have to share is, you can this is the effect link. I'm reiterating, this is the effect link, and this is the effect ID. So these are the two things that you need when you submit your effect on the Google form that you'll be shared with. I think I hope that has been shared with you. So I'll stop maybe sharing my screen. And how did you import an asset? So okay, I'll just stay and take a few doubts. How did you import an asset from your computer? Okay, so I'll just show you. So when I used in this very texture, so right here you can add an asset, if you can see right here in the bottom left panel. So and I add an asset, I click on import. So there is this option from importing from my computer. So from here I can just import from my computer if I want to add this very file or this very file. So I can just click and here this file comes up. So that is how you import from your local system. I hope that is clear. Just give me a thumbs up if the importing thing is clear. How to import an asset from your system? There were two questions related to that. Where do we upload effect while submitting on the Spark AR hub? Like I just showed you on the Spark AR hub. When you'll click on upload, you'll be directed to this very site. Or what you can do is, since I'm already logged in, but you can just go on to Spark Air. You can just go on to Google, click on Spark Air hub right here. So you can just move on to this and log in via Facebook. And yeah, that is where you can publish your effect. I would really appreciate if you could all give me a thumbs up that it's clear, and I can stop sharing my screen then. Can we align 3D text? Yeah, you can align the 3D text. What we did in this very filter right here is a 3D text itself. You can just see in the objects panel, this is a 3D text. When I click on this thing, so these are the arrows that come up. So I can place it wherever I wish. Like I've placed it right here. You can change it you can change the XYZ coordinates from here as well. So yeah, you can place the 3D text as you wish. Like you can move it in XYZ direction, like here, here, or here, like in the Z direction as well. So yeah, that is about the placing of the 3D text. Ask her if you can please share what's the last date for submitting their AR effects. Okay, so 20th December it is, guys. You can submit your AR effects till 20th. So I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah. So if there are no more doubts, then you can just give me a thumbs up. Or if there are any doubts, we are here for 2 more minutes. Okay, I can see no more doubts.
So thank you, Rupal, for a wonderful session. Thank you for taking out time in the morning.
Thank you so much, Askar, for having me. And thank you, everyone, for being an amazing audience. I can see a few responses. So I hope some of them have actually built their first AR effects, maybe. So I'm glad.
Yes, we can hope for that.
Yeah.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you everyone for joining. You have learned how to build your AR effects. Submit your AR effects in the Google form before 20th of December. You have time till 20th of December. Submit your AR effects before the deadline and grab your goodies. Everyone who submits an AR effect will get a backpack and a certificate from Facebook. So don't miss this opportunity. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.